Hey, what's up, homies? Welcome back to the Sige Homie podcast. This is a podcast where I, Ethan, document, reminisce, reflect, and converse about life and its experiences. I'm your host, Ate Eve Balmaceda. Welcome back to another episode of my podcast. I know, it's been a hot minute since I've done an episode. I'm not gonna lie, I just took somewhat of a break from producing content for this podcast. I really just took a step back and thought about, what I wanted to talk about for future episodes. And also, if you don't know, I'm an upcoming senior in high school next year. So, during this time, I'm sort of planning out what I want to do for the future after high school and sort of, looking for colleges and, just in that process. And so I feel like I really needed to focus on that around this time, but I haven't forgot about this podcast. I haven't forgot about you, homies, so stay tuned for upcoming episodes. However, today's episode, gosh, I'm really excited about today's episode. Today's episode is with my first ever guest of this on this podcast, and today's guest her name is Eve Balmaceda. She is, well, we call each other cousins, but we're basically god siblings. Our families are just really close to each other, and we honestly just grew up with each other, and my siblings and I sort of look up to her as an older sister, so it's kind of like that relationship with her. But yeah, I just really wanted to put this intro in really quick, since when we did this podcast episode, it was really unplanned. We did it so quickly, and I didn't really put in a thorough intro, so here we are. But I feel like we talked about some very interesting topics for today, so I hope you enjoyed today's episode. This is actually part one. My cousin and I actually filmed another episode, so stay tuned for that. But if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this amazing podcast called Sige Homie, wherever you're listening: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Yes, sir, we're on Google Podcasts now. Woo! And also make sure to share my podcast with a homie or two. Just a quick reminder, you can also watch the full episodes of my podcast on my channel, The Ethan Gonzalez, on YouTube. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Deuces. Hello, welcome to another episode of my podcast, Sige Homie. Today I am joined with a very, very, very special guest. Please give a warm welcome to my cousin / godsister, Evie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. So just to clarify a couple things, I'll be referring to my cousin as Ate, because in Filipino or Tagalog, Ate means like older sister. It's just a way to, show respect, you feel? So today we're just gonna have a conversation about whatever. Currently right now we're outside, so we're giving you guys some podcast nature vibes. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy today's episode. So yeah, let's first start off with, I guess, our past, how we, grew up together. I just remember that when we were very young, we were just always fighting, I guess. I don't know if you remember that. Do you?
Yeah, it was more of like me as a complex thing, because
really?
So I'm an only child.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was just, as like, when you grow up in that environment, it's like you don't really share anything with anyone. So it took a lot of discipline from my parents, and just realizing maybe I shouldn't be mean to others.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I just remember there would be times, because again, like I said, she's not actually my my real cousin. We're our families are very close to each other, and her parents happen to be my godparents, and so we just we always sort of grew up together in some ways. There would be times where she would come over to my house or I would come over to her house, for like, a get together or something. And I just remember like when I would, come over to your house, it was like we would always be fighting or something, or like, I would always get pissed at you or something. But like I feel like now definitely we're at the age where we're just, so cool to each other, like we could, I guess, share stuff with each other, and like we could get, at least for me, I get advice from my ate all the time. So but yeah,
I mean, most deaf, because I mean, like, during that time, what were we have like a, how many age difference?
I'm 17 now, so
almost 3.
Yeah.
So almost 3. So like when I was 8, you were like, what, 5?
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought I was like the boss and everything.
For real, I remember that.
But
yeah.
I think that's, you see that in a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Especially not even just like in single, just like what is it? Single kids,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I see.
Little kids are tyrants.
Oh.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I mean, like looking back now, I definitely like could see you, with that I guess mindset, because I just remember like I would get mad at you for like, I don't know, just being like so bossy and stuff like that, and like I don't know, back then we just didn't vibe together, but now it's more like period, Yeah. But yeah, currently now, I mean, Ate is in I think your 3rd year of college. Yes. Yeah. Could you tell the listeners what you do in college?
Okay, so I'm currently majoring in biochemistry.
She's smart.
Thank you. So because I'm a junior, I'm like slowly approaching my upper division classes, and so it's a bit scary, because it's like, of course, it's like harder classes.
Definitely.
But I'm excited to learn more, like specifically about like my major, and thinking about the future and like what I want to do. Definitely. Within that field, so.
Yeah. Do you like college so far?
I'm not gonna lie, amongst COVID-19, and like I'm pretty sure everyone can agree, or at least a majority can agree, that online learning is just not.
It's not it.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's like, especially for me, I really do rely on the classroom environment.
Oh, definitely, me too. Yeah.
Because when you're at home, it's like you associate your living space and your bed as like, a place to relax and even, unwind for the day.
Yeah.
So you have to first, and it's easier said than done, but you have to, kind of have that school mindset in your bedroom, and it's kind of like,
definitely,
it's distracting.
Yeah.
Because it's like, maybe I should take a nap.
Yeah. I've heard this term before. I think it's called like sort of like a separation between, I guess, work life and like that personal life environment. But I definitely feel you. For you personally, I mean, like, you go to college in a different state. Like, how was that moving back home here for you?
It was kind of, well, when I first found out that I was getting kicked out of the dorms, it was, honestly, I wasn't in a great dorm situation.
Okay.
So I was a bit relieved that I didn't have to live with those people for the rest of the year. And I mean, as with like going back to home and my parents, like I honestly didn't mind it, because I missed them. I was in this like kind of bad situation, so I was glad to go somewhere that I was, welcomed and.
That's good.
Loved.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
How about with you? How's online learning amidst?
I mean, well, for me at first, at first, when I, like many high schoolers, when I found out, COVID was this thing that we would be staying home, it was during the time, I think it was during spring break, so it was kind of exciting, like, oh, we get, a couple more weeks off when we go into our spring break. But, I feel like, transitioning into that COVID, like into the new normal, it can definitely get a little difficult. For me personally, I mean, like, I feel like I've learned a lot of stuff. I mean, like, as for home life, it's kind of a blessing in disguise because I got to get more closer with family and stuff like that. And I've realized that in that past world we lived in before COVID, we were all in our own lives. We were working and going to school, but like, through COVID, I feel like we could get more closer together. But as for school, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it can kind of get difficult, you know what I mean? Personally, there are times where I'm so thankful for the situation that I'm in because, for example, we can take tests at home in a private place where I'm gonna just leave it there. But like you said, I definitely prefer like a classroom environment. I feel like for me personally, it can sort of help me with my grades because there came a time where my grades weren't looking so good because of that environment. And so, but yeah, I mean, overall it's kind of like a good and bad type thing. Yeah. Right.
And like it's also, I understand, like, the pandemic was like hard for everyone. Mm-hmm. But one of my troubles, I guess, mm-hmm. my observations is that like the teachers that taught in person mm-hmm. thought they could replicate the exact same thing instead of changing their teaching style to to fit like Zoom or WebEx or all that. Mm-hmm. And I feel that because of that, like, because they tried so hard to do the same thing that they usually do and didn't think to kind of like change it. Yeah. It kind of impacted their teaching style in a bit, and which was kind of hard for the students too. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, you would maybe think that like, oh, if I do the same thing on Zoom, it's gonna be the same thing. Like, whatever. Mm-hmm. But like in reality, it's not at all.
Yes. Case. Yeah. I feel like I really saw how there are good and bad things with virtual learning. Personally, I mean, like, I kind of did like it because I'm at home, I can eat in class, I can I can doze off without the teacher like calling me out. But at the same time, I feel like there's this sort of separation between, I mean, at least from my school, going back to school, last year there were virtual students and then there were in-person students, and I feel like there was definitely this separation between virtual and in-person because I remained virtual for the whole year, and I feel like, I don't know, just the way the teacher teaches, it's definitely different when you're in this more, I guess, isolated.
It was just a mess. Yeah. But you know what? We got it.
Definitely.
I mean, it's over, basically.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yeah. So speaking of like school or like, just high school or college in general, do you have any like good or bad experiences with them,
I mean, we can talk about high school since that's,
okay.
It's a bit more, I guess.
Sure.
Relatable. Yeah. Like, honestly, in high school, I was never that like popular. I was in the sense that I only had a few friends, but you know people and you can be friendly with people, but like I would consider them acquaintances rather than friends.
Definitely. Yeah.
And it was cool. Like, I had a really like a big-ish circle of friends.
Yeah.
In freshman year, and then like senior year, it literally like dwindled down to like 2 or 1. And I think that's the high school experience. That's the real high school experience. For real, period. Yeah. Which is not a bad thing. I mean, if you keep your friends, like, good for you. You have a very solid friendship and everything. But that's it's a rarity. But.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, in terms of classes went, like, I just did what was recommended. I did a lot of APs. Yeah. I don't recommend AP Chem.
Really? Was there any like class that you definitely dreaded?
So I'm bad at math.
Yeah. Oh, we all are,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you something. So when I was in was I a senior or a junior? No, I was a junior. And there's this kid. he's in the same year as me, and he was doing Calc 2
Oh, for
as a
real?
junior in high school. I did my Calc 2 as a sophomore in college.
Oh,
Yeah.
for real?
Yeah, or freshman year.
Oh,
Something like that. But
yeah.
it's crazy. Like, there are really gifted kids in there. It's
Definitely.
like crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like, for me, my junior year, I'm taking pre-calc, or yeah, I think that's what it's called. And man, like, I mean, there's like a lot of, like, freshmen and like sophomores in that class, and I'm only like a junior. And like you, I'm really bad at math, honestly. Like, it's not even funny, but
It's like, girl, get out of my
I know,
class.
for real.
Like, get out.
I know. I don't even know. And it's funny because, like, I mean, ever since middle school, I've been placed in, I guess, advanced math, or like, but I don't do good in math. Like, the math ain't mathin'. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it doesn't compute like
yeah,
that. Yeah,
for real. And so, I don't know. It's just, yeah.
The funniest part about it is that, like, I asked my professor, saying like, oh, like, because we were relating how bad we are at math.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, I don't even use that type of like calc or any of those. I don't use those
Yeah.
in work at all.
Yeah, for real.
And I'm like, what? Excuse me?
It's just like, sometimes I think about it, how like we learn stuff in school, and we end up not necessarily using it, in our adult life, or at least for me, I'm probably gonna bet that I'm not gonna use the Pythagorean theorem, when I work somewhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, like, I feel like our education system is low-key effed up, but I mean, but yeah.
And there's this thing in England, which I like their school system because it's very specialized.
Oh yeah.
In the sense where when you're I would like to say freshman in high school or like 8th grade, you have to pick tests called like GCSEs, and they basically are like specific tests that you take.
Yeah.
You have to take like base ones like English, math, and science, but you get to pick like, oh, do you want to do like language, or do you want to do double sciences? So from an early age, you have to pick what you have to do, and then from that, it's very specialized.
Yeah.
And then when you're a junior or a senior, you take these things called A levels, which is which should be like specialized to your major.
Oh, I see.
So you're
okay.
cut from all like the other other classes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you have some other like English like base level classes, but usually it's more.
Wait, that sounds kind of dope though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
yeah.
when you're I don't want to say groomed, but like, but once you're in college, or you're basically, specialized with what you need to do.
Oh, I
instead
see.
of doing some like stupid filler classes.
For real. For those who don't know, I mean, like, my ate, you went to England for a while, I don't remember when. Do you know how old you were?
I was like, it was 9 through when I was 9 years old to 12, so like 3 years.
Oh, okay. Because I just remember, like, my parents were like, oh, Ate's moving to England, and I'm like, oh, shoot.
Oh.
Could you tell us, like, your experience about, England? I mean, like personally, I've never been to England. Like, is there any, like, similarities to England and the US?
Kind of, sort of, same. It's just the food is a bit different, in which like I would say like English food is like absolute shit, but like and I mean, like, you know how, like, of course minorities come to the United States and become citizens. Same thing in England. But the thing is, their food is fire. The minorities that come over there, their food's fire.
Yeah.
But,
see, yeah. How was the school there for you?
it was good. I went to a private school, so my experience
she
might be
bougie.
different.
No, I was playing.
It might be different.
Yeah.
But it was funny because like me and my friends, she's American too, and she's also Filipino.
Ooh, okay.
But like we would be like we were like 2-3 out of 3 colored people out of like all white kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dang. I feel.
So it was just like, okay, so we have like over there we actually have like a religion class
Oh,
or religious
okay.
studies, and
Yeah.
and you get like it's just like a survey of different,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
religions around the world.
Oh, okay.
And that teacher,
Mhm.
she would get us like confused. Like she would call me my
real?
friend's
Oh
name,
my
and she would
gosh.
call me, or my friend would call her by my name.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, girl, we obviously look different. Like, and it's not like we're twins. Like,
Yeah.
get your, like, of course, when I was little, I just excused them, like, whatever.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
like, you know, growing up and really thinking back, I'm like, bro, that's not.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
Yeah. I remember, like, I think my dad mentioned this yesterday when we hung out, but, like, you used to have, like, an English accent. I don't remember.
no, that was a joke.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, that was a joke. I never had a British accent. I just played along.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. Wait, really?
Dead
Deadass?
ass. I did not have an
Dang.
accent.
You know.
I know. Since that like TikTok trend is like that, I'm like,
yeah.
it's pop, it's fun. Like
Yeah,
not
it really is.
like people don't. I saw this TikTok and it was this girl that's actually British, and she
Uh-huh.
was like, "Can you Americans stop? Quit it with like the accent." And this American was obviously like, "Love,
Love.
we can't. This is so you don't understand. This is just a power move. It's
Yeah.
just very.
I feel you. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
exactly.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, do you miss England at times, or?
It's I miss it in the sense that I miss the memories, you know, just being like young again, I
Yeah.
guess.
Mhm.
Oh, I sound so old, gross.
Oh.
But like I think that's why I miss it, and it's just like, you know, the experiences that I have,
I see.
just the memories, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I would go back and visit, you know,
I mean, yeah.
but
Yeah.
in that sense,
I feel. How long were you there for again?
3 years.
3 years?
around
Oh,
that.
okay. And then you came back to the US. How was that for you? I mean, like, was the transition a little difficult for you?
Kinda. I was lucky enough to move back to my old house.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that was pretty nice, but it's just like, you know, I guess, so I made a lot of friends here, of course, when I was in
Yeah.
elementary school.
Mhm.
And like, you know, I had this really big going away stuff. When I came back, I thought I was gonna have like the red carpets rolled out
Oh,
for me.
yeah,
And
I
like, oh my
feel.
god, Eve, we miss you, yada yada.
Yeah.
But of course, you know, that doesn't happen.
I
right?
know, for real.
So I was kind
Yeah.
of like, man. But like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
how people are, even when you're so young with that, like people grow to be different people, you know?
Definitely,
And I guess
yeah.
I learned that the hard way, in which like some of my friends weren't really my friends anymore, which is okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I feel you.
how about your high school experience? Was it what you wanted it to be? Did you expect it to go the way that
Well-
it did? Since you're almost done anyways.
Oh yeah, I mean, oh, that's a really good question. I mean, okay, so far I feel like I've learned a lot of things, you know. Like you said, it's definitely, this is the real high school, experience. I mean, freshman year was all right. I mean, kind of like you in middle school. I had a lot of friends, and I thought we were gonna continue on this friendship, but then again, like, you know, people grow and people, I guess, move on. People, you know, they change, and so I feel like in high school, well, at least entering high school, I definitely learned that immediately. Like, oh, dang, I don't, you know, these best friends that I call are now like acquaintances at this point. You know what I mean? And so, as I was saying, freshman year was all right. You know, I mean, I told you some beef.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, overall, there was a time where, you know, I sat alone in lunch, and I was like all emo, and I was like, dang, like no one likes me, you know. And then, you know, sophomore year, I moved to a different school. This time it's a public school. It's a white school.
Right.
And definitely there's a lot of like, I wouldn't say cultural shocks. I mean, we're in the same city, but it's more like there's definitely a lot of things that I saw, you know. definitely there was a time where like I felt very different from others and like not really confident, you know what I mean? And was it, yeah, it was March when, you know, COVID came. And so like I said, I was the new kid during that time, and so, you know, transitioning into COVID, it was kind of good for me because, you know, I was in a situation where I mean, I did have some friends, but I still felt kind of alone, and it would just be best for me to, you know, like stay home and study from there, you know.
Right.
Anyways, junior year came, and then you know, COVID was still here. I mean, COVID is still here. But, you know, everything was just all virtual, and I didn't get to really talk to anyone. So I got to, like, you know, I missed out on a lot of, like, I think I didn't go to, like, homecoming, and, you know, I didn't even go to prom at my school. You know, I just didn't get to meet new people as I, you know, hoped to back in, like, middle school, because I thought, you know, middle school, high school was gonna be this, you know, unforgettable experience, when really, bro, like, you know, now senior year, it's like, dang, high school's almost over. You know, we're thinking about college and all that. Like, personally, I don't know what I want to do, you know. I'm just saying, at this point, I'm just saying, oh, I want to become a doctor. You know, you never know. And you know, this whole high school experience is definitely something that I didn't expect it, but at the same time, I learned a lot of, you know, things like I said, people change. Or another thing that I learned is to not really expect anything, you know, be open to new things, and, you know, just like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it, you know. How about you? Was there anything that you, I guess, you know, learned from high school that you still take on into now your college life, I guess?
I guess I agree with your statement with, like, don't expect anything from anybody.
Yeah.
You know, and one thing that I did learn is just, unfortunately, like everybody else, they've had a bit of their, like, you know, toxic friends. But the problem is, it takes, if you have no one else to tell you, hey, that person is toxic, you have to realize it yourself.
Oh,
and that
yeah.
can take forever, you
For
know?
real, yeah.
And, you know, unfortunately, it took a while for me to realize that, like, hey, I need to drop this person, like, a bad habit. Like, now I can see the signs quicker, and I can be like, oh, dude, I have a bad vibe from you. Like, oh, I don't like how you kind of, like, thought that was funny. Like,
definitely.
I'm not associating myself with you. And, yeah, it's just that, because, you know, it's, you know, you have to experience the bad things for you to, you know, be wise and be like, oh, let me not do that ever again.
Definitely.
But it is quite unfortunate, but I guess it was one of those things of growing up. Some other things, I guess, is you gotta live. Sometimes I even forget this myself now in the present, but, like, you have to just live life the way you want to, because if you're always, like, concerned with what other people think, or you're focused on school and work, you're gonna have nothing to remember back on.
Oh, yeah, that's deep, yeah.
You know? And, like, because, like, sometimes it can be, like, little things, like listening to music at work, like doing a little dance when you walk through the hallway.
Yeah.
I do that at work. I mean, like, like, you know, like, fuck it if people stare, but it's just like, I'm trying to vibe here.
For real.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's hard. Let me tell you, it's very hard to kind of, like, not try to be intrusive and being like, oh, what do other people think? And be like, oh, if I wear this, like, crazy color today, is people gonna, like, stare?
Yeah.
You know, it can be really hard to break out of that mindset. But, like, once you do, it's very relieving.
When was that point when you sort of just, like, said, you know, F it, like, I'm just gonna do me, and I don't care what people think, you know? Do you remember?
You know, it's funny because I always thought I had that mentality, but I didn't. So it wasn't until, like, my freshman year in college, I thought I was like, fuck it, like, I'm gonna do me. But in reality, I still was very naive about the world, you know? I was very naive about how other people perceive me and how other people can kind of, like, you know, think that, oh, she looks naive, let me just, you know, let's do some. And it was just after those bad experiences that I fully believe now that I'm like, fuck it, let's just do it.
For real. Yeah.
Because at that point I was still kind of still under their thumb in a way that like I was kind of, when we have problems, my roommates, like I wouldn't like confront them, or I would try to be like, oh well, I don't want to I don't want to, you know, start more problems, and I'm just gonna mind myself. But that's not the case. Like if you want things done, get things done, and be like, hey, I don't like when you do this to me.
Yeah. I feel like I mean, I remembered so like, you know, lately Ate has been, you know, coming over, and we be vibing, we be chilling.
Right.
And we had this like long night conversation about you know, just life, and we brought up the topic of confrontation, you know. I mean, I told Ate, like, honestly, like, I'm not really good with confrontation, you know. And you know, I feel like Ate, like, you said something that really like hit me hard, you know.
Oh, right.
I think it was like you were saying something about, you know, think of confrontation as like sticking up for yourself, you feel.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally that.
Yeah.
Because confrontation, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a bad thing, like, oh, I don't like it when you do this, or whatever. Confrontations can be like, okay, I don't like when you're, like, let's say you have a partner that's very meek and just doesn't really do anything, kind of just like, you know, because I have a friend like that. And the problem is that like that person is so meek, it just doesn't like confrontation so much that in itself, by not doing anything, she's letting her relationship fall, or like, and it's not just even intimate relationships, it's friendships too. Preach. Right, because it's like friendships, any of those, they're like plants. You have to nurture it, you have to give it attention, you know. Definitely. You can't just be like, oh, you know, my plant's growing a weed in it. Maybe it'll just die eventually. Like, it's not.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have like, I don't know, like, do you have a story about, you know, confrontation or whatever, you know, confronting someone?
Yeah, so so I, for the longest time, like, my friend kind of you know, we had this like kind of unshakable relationship. And when she got a boyfriend, you know, she kind of just ghosted me out of nowhere.
I see.
And it's kind of like, well, okay, we've been friends for this long, and, you know, we've been through with each other for like through the thick and thin. Yeah. You know, and I really thought that, you know, even because like it's not like she can't have a boyfriend, you know, because like I believe that you can have a boyfriend and still, or like a significant other, and still include your friends and your family in your life. Yeah. But that wasn't the case for her. She kind of just like dropped out and was like, girl, she was like MIA. Yeah. And once her relationship ended, I kind of just like, she realized what she did and she apologized for it. However, I accepted it like right at the get-go, because I just wanted the friendship to be fixed. I just wanted things to get, you know, back to normal. Yeah. But as the months passed, I kind of just thought about it, and I'm like, I can't accept that apology. Oh yeah. You know, it's like she kind of, it's just that her leaving just demonstrated like a type of breaking of trust that I just never thought was gonna happen. I guess it was more traumatic for me as I thought. And I finally, you know, confronted her like, hey, I'm sorry it took so long, but like this is why, you know, I just needed time to myself. Yeah. But we eventually fixed it, and that's the best part about it. So, yeah, definitely. You know, we talked it out, and everything's cool now. But, it was a long journey, so to say. Yes. I feel like, you know, confrontation doesn't always have to be a bad thing, you know. In the end, it can do good, you know. Like, as you said, I feel like through that, sort of loosen up the reins a little bit. You feel like, you know, kind of loosen up that, I guess, what's the word? Like stress between the relationship, which is good. Yeah. Right. Because if you really do care about the relationship, you gotta fight for it, you know? For real, yeah. And it can't be one-sided. Like, at both parties, more parties, they have to do their part. I see. If they really do care about it. Definitely. I feel.
So yeah, wrapping up our episode, we definitely talked about a lot of, interesting topics about, college, high school. Again, Ate, thank you for joining my podcast.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Yes, it was such a pleasure to have you. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, you can watch the full video episodes of my podcast here on my channel at The You Think Is Alls. Just search up The You Think Is Alls on wherever. But yeah. Thanks for tuning in to this episode, and until next time, peace. Bye.